this is Paolo. In this tutorial, I'm going to introduce the After Effects exporter for Blender, a new program that I wrote to make the integration of Blender in your After Effects pipeline a snap. In fact, with this program, you can move an entire animation from Blender to After Effects with one click of the mouse, and the export will include everything that you need: camera information, planes, meshes, 3D objects, lights, and even footage. And best of all, you don't need to install any After Effects plugin. That's because the exporter generates an After Effects script, a .gsx file. And those files can be automatically executed directly from inside After Effects CS3 or above. So before we dive into the program and see how it works, let me rewind the clock a little bit, all the way to 2005 about. At that time, there was a company called Serious Magic, and they had an interesting program called Ultra. Ultra was a chroma keyer with a twist. It was very easy to use. It provided some pretty good results, but it also allowed you to integrate the subject, your talent, shot against a green screen, to integrate that person inside a virtual set. And of course, as soon as I started using the program, I decided to do the obvious thing. It was to put myself inside a space station. I know, it's silly, but how could you resist the temptation? So here is the clip. Okay. Silly as it is, it was an interesting experiment. It was my first Chromakey experiment. As you can see from this behind-the-scenes shot, I was comfortably in my living room with the camera just a few meters away from me. Nevertheless, the crane shot worked. In fact, a lot of people ask me, how did I put the camera all the way up to that point? Now, realizing that I was basically cheating, which introduces an interesting point. That is, you can do a lot of impressive shooting by cheating as long as you are aware of the limitations of your camera movement. If the camera is straight in front of the subject, you can have a crane shot. If everything tracks correctly, then you're safe. So I always liked that scenario. I always liked that experience. It has a little bit of a sentimental value. And in trying to put together an example to showcase the exporter, I went back to that. And so let's see if we can create a space station and place a talent in the scene and have 3 screens where we want to project footage that we place there with After Effects. And here it is. Let me load the file. I made a quick model of kind of a space station. It's not the same that we saw in the original clip. It's a little more industrial looking. Let me give you an example with the render. So this is the scene, and the camera is high above in the same position, more or less. And we want to crane down in front of the subject. The subject is supposed to be here in this stage, and we have 1, 2, and 3 screens, and we want to place some footage in there, and we want to do that with After Effects so that we can change it anytime we want without re-rendering the entire scene. Alright, let's go back here and let me adjust a couple of things here. Alright, resize the window. Okay, first thing, the scene is built with different elements. Now, when you want to export an animation from Blender to After Effects, you don't need to necessarily export everything. I mean, we will have the rendering, but then there are some elements that we want to move from Blender to After Effects so we can manipulate them later. Now, these kind of pipes, we don't need them. We don't need to do anything with them. So it will be just a waste of time to export anything about those. Same thing for the screens here. I don't need the monitor. I don't need this object here. I need the surface of the screen. And everything else pretty much doesn't need to be exported. We will need to export the camera. So let me show you first one of the tricks used in this experiment. So I created 3 planes, 1, 2, and 3, to represent the surface of those screens. But I placed those in a different layer. This layer here is the last layer of Blender. So now if I select it, now we see 1, 2, and 3 screens. Plus there is this plane in the middle, which is a placeholder for the talent. By placing them on a different layer, then I can use, let me just go here, I can use the render layers option of Blender and exclude that layer from the render. Alright, so that is a little bit of trickery. Now, first of all, how do we select which elements go to After Effects? I thought about it, and there is a very simple system that I designed, which is to basically select an object. In this case, we are selecting the camera, and the camera has the name camera, and if you want to export it, you add to it .mgx. You can use _mgx like this. It's the same, whatever you prefer. What is important is that you use the motion graphics suffix. This is kind of a label, and it's MGX all uppercase. The use of MGX is interesting because in this way we always have a permanent marker for the object. That means that if you re-edit this file 2 months from now, you'll be able to identify which elements have been exported to the post-processing queue very easily. All you need to do is to look at your hierarchy here. Let me expand this a little bit. Now you see the camera MGX is one of the elements. Now if we keep scrolling, you'll see that there is a left MGX. There is this guy here, which actually I don't need anymore, so I can decide to remove from the export queue. Then I have my talent MGX. Talent MGX is this plane, and it's exported. Same thing for screen A, screen B, and screen C. All MGX. So those are automatically exported. The After Effects exporter will generate After Effects solids corresponding to these 3, actually 4 planes, and it will size them and orient them automatically in the right way so that they will be ready to go, and you'll be able to just drag footage in place of the placeholders and have them positioned in the 3D space inside After Effects. So that's all that it takes. You take these 4 elements, you mark them, you mark your camera, tag it with MGX, and then you go to File, Export, and here it is, After Effects.gsx. The only thing that the program asks you for is a name of the file. That's all. There are no dialog boxes, there are no other things to enter. You click the button to After Effects, it's done. So now let's switch to After Effects and see the second part of this. So we go to File, Scripts, Run Script File. That's all you need to do, because it's an After Effects script, so it runs directly from the program. I'm using CS3. I didn't try it on CS4 because I didn't upgrade yet, but I have no reason to doubt that this program will work as well. So if you can test it on CS4 and let me know, that would be great. Run script file, then we locate the same file we just generated and click open. That's all you need to do. And then you end up with a new composition. It's called Space Station 02. That's the same name of the original Blender file. And what happened? There is actually footage in there. How is that possible? Well. What happens is that, let me just change this. The exporter is actually able to locate your footage if you render before exporting. Let's switch back to Blender and let me show you. If you go here in our scene buttons, let me resize this a little better. Okay. Now, click on the Output tab. You'll see that I have the entire name, Blender Space Station underscore ###.png. The 3 pound signs are placeholders for the frame number. Whenever you export something, whenever you render something from a 3D program, you're better off using a sequence of images. The exporter will recognize either the sequence of images or a clip file like a QuickTime movie. But you've been warned, use sequence of images. You can use Targa, TIFF, PNG, doesn't matter. But the best option is to use sequence of images. Now, before doing the export, I render the entire scene. And when I click on File, Export, and run the After Effects exporter, the exporter automatically checks if there is a render available. It will check the file name, it will locate the file name, it will recognize if it's a sequence of images or a movie clip. It will look inside the render layers. It will try to verify that this is a combined pass. It will also recognize multiple passes using the specular, shadow, and ambient occlusion flag. And it will generate layers for those passes as well. There is no way, at least in Blender 2.49, to link these passes to files that will be recognized by the exporter, but it will generate placeholders. We'll talk about this in another tutorial. For now, remember, if you just go for a straight render using the combine option, you set your file name, you render it, then you export it. The result is you get your footage automatically in the scene. It's called combined render. We have our camera here. Let's do a quick RAM preview. And boy, it looks like it's working. Okay. Here's our scene inside After Effects. Good. So let's take a look at the other elements. We have our screen A, screen B, screen C. We have our talent. So what we can do here is to simply, in the original video 5 years ago, here it is. Import the footage. And I'm going to pre-compose this. So create a new comp for this. And as you see, that's my living room. So I'm going to change this comp to, let's say, 600 maybe. Perfect. So I don't even need to create a garbage mat for the rest. And let's scroll a little bit. Okay. As you can see, it's much better if I stay behind the camera than in front. But hey, it was an experiment just for the fun. of it. So, okay, this is the point where we want to start. Okay. And actually a little more. Okay, not the perfect. Didn't want to have the Forrest Gump look. And let's create a quick mask around it, just to make things a little faster. And oops, wrong option. Here, quickly. No. And done. And move this down a little bit. Okay, so now we can use our chroma key. Let's go to keying, key light, and we're gonna just sample the green. Let's go to screen matte and adjust a little bit the parameters. So we're gonna clip back a little bit, and white. I'm now gonna try to make this work. This is not about chroma keying, but that's good enough for now. Okay, final result, we have it. And we are going to change this composition name to talent. Okay. And now what we need to do simply is to highlight our talent solid here and option drag the footage. On the PC you press Alt, and there I am. I think we need to scale the talent down a little bit, and there you go. Maybe we can center a little bit. Looks good. Looks good there. All right. So now we have the clip working. We just need to replace the content of the screens. All right. Pretty cool. Let's see how we do this. Okay, I tried several different techniques, and the fact is, if you drag and drop the footage directly to replace those screens, the footage might not match correctly. There are several little adjustments that you might end up doing. My favorite technique is this. You duplicate the layer here, okay? Command D or Control D, and you duplicate it. Then you highlight you select the one below. And let's import some footage from Artbeats. So let's see. This one, no. Okay, this is kind of cool. It's kind of a mysterious abstract footage we can put in this screen. This screen will not be visible for much of the animation, so we can just put something there. All right, I have the screen A solid, which is basically a duplicate of this, and Alt drag the footage there. Now it's positioned correctly. Press S, scale it down. Okay. And like this. And then I'm going to use for a track matte the same original solid so that it clips in the right place. Okay? So let's see how it works. Quick render. And it's going right. Okay, let's see. All right. I think, let me just change a little bit our rendering controls here. Boy, I'm running out of screen real estate here. Okay. So ramp preview and from current time. Okay, resolution fall, that's fine. So let's do the same for the other screens then. Okay. screen B. We're going to duplicate, highlight, select the lower one, import some new footage. Let's see what we can have. Do we have anything that is related to space? Anything? Oh, that's great. That is a space shuttle in space. It's perfectly pertinent. We take this footage and drag, alt drag to here. It's matching this screen. S for scale. Scale it down, down. And then we're going to track map screen B. Perfect. And let's do the same automatically for the last one, screen C. Duplicate, select, import the footage. Let's see what else we have here. No. Okay, that's kind of cool. And I'll drag, big flower there, scale it down. And now track map to screen C. Let's go from the beginning. And RAM preview. So the camera is moving. Our footage on the screen works. The subject looks happy. The key needs to be cleaned up a little bit. There is a kind of an edge there, but as I said, this is not about chroma keying. This is about integrating 3D in your After Effects compositions. It is proving that you can do a lot with Blender 3D, an open source program from the Blender Foundation. Well, I hope this is useful for you. You can download the After Effects exporter where you found this video at the Creative Cow. Also, you can find it at my website, www.pretat3d.com, which stands for 3D Ready to Wear. So www.pretat3d.com. My name is Paolo Ciccone. Happy blendering.